Why don't I just roll over and play dead when people threaten me, when they hire very expensive, possibly even foreign media firms to launch orchestrated, lavishly funded propaganda campaigns to manipulate the minds of the public? So why don't I just accede and say, well, here's the cabinet position of my choice and a few other juicy positions as well, such as, for example, appoint my person immigration commissioner or customs commissioner, or maybe even accept outright cash or any of the variations of a cash buyout that take place in Philippine politics. And your question is, what keeps you going? What keeps me going is that I go to Mass every day. I'm a Christian. I go to Mass every day, and on my knees I pray that the Holy Spirit shall come and enlighten not only me, but my people.
But don't you see the handwriting on the wall? I mean, people will say, don't you see the handwriting on the wall?
Even if that handwriting were written by a dozen, by 100, by 1,000, by 1,000,000 devils, I will never succumb to the handwriting on the wall. I would rather perish than give up what I believe in.
Miriam, is it true that you indicated that a military coup was possible? Because you said that the 200,000 soldiers or so that took up your cause during the elections will never allow, as a matter of fact, the cheating in these elections, you see, to pass by without their having to say something about it.
Yes, I said that the more or less 200,000 enlisted man component of our armed forces will not take this lying down.
Yeah.
There is a restiveness in the military and in the youth sector. It is almost palpable. They're not talking, they are waiting for a clue, for a signal.
Have you had any contacts with some people in the military, or have they tried to contact you and told you how they feel?
Absolutely not, except our former senatorial candidates, because you know that 5 of them are retired generals. They were in my house during my birthday. We meet on social occasions. We have never discussed, directly or indirectly, by means of euphemisms or otherwise, the possibility of instigating or even supporting or even sympathizing with
Miriam,
any military disturbance of society.
why are you such a fighter? What explains your drive to keep fighting all the time? That you don't seem to realize, see, that you're fighting against insurmountable odds and that you could be knocked out. What keeps you fighting? What is this drive that keeps hitting you and making you go out there to the barricades all the time?
Why did the first man climb the first mountain? Why did the first inventor attempt to fly, contrary to all logic, during his time? Why did man fly to the moon? Why? Because God gave us an intellect so that we will act not only visually to ensure our own survival, but also so that we shall reach out for the stars, even though it is beyond our grasp. I foresee that the Filipino people very soon will come into their own as a major economy and political power to reckon with in the Asian region. And all of this is part of the process towards that eventual status of political maturity. We must confront our problems and our deficiencies. We cannot improve as a people if we insist on a policy of ignoring problems.
I had a follow-up question, but again, we will have to pause despite all the excitement for a brief pause.
That time moves so fast. I wanted to also...
Firing line will continue. We now return you to Firing Line.
Miriam, you've sparked the imagination of the Filipino people, and I remember quite well 4 years ago when you were at CID, your first quotable quote was, "I eat death threats for breakfast." Going over your 4-year meteoric career in government, what comes to your mind now that you have supposedly lost the election, that you've mounted a impressive campaign? When you're lying in bed at night, what comes to your mind? How do you feel?
First of all, please let me make a minor correction in your statement. I won in the voting. I was cheated in the counting.
Right.
That is a faithful reproduction of reality. And you ask what I think of when I'm in bed.
Yes, what do you think of?
I have always compartmentalized my life. When I'm at home, I think of homely matters. When I'm in the office, of office matters. When I'm in bed, what do I think of? Matters connected with a particular piece of furniture.
I mean, does
But in any
it
event,
bother you?
to answer it seriously, what do I think of? I think, what is the will of God for me? I must discern this will. And with every ounce of energy, with every breath that I take, I must focus myself on the implementation and the operationalization of this will. I must operationalize God's will on earth. That is the best reason for living. Otherwise, life would not be anything but short, nasty, and brutish.
Any regrets about what you have done?
Absolutely not. I did what I thought I must do. And let me inform you, I think you might even have some intimation of this because of our college days together in the UP campus. I never wanted to enter politics. I never wanted to run for president. I wanted to be an academician, at most maybe a member of the Supreme Court of our country. But all the same, I willed myself to do what I did because I thought that was what was incumbent on me.
Miriam, since you mentioned bed, no? Forgive me for asking, how's your love life? Because I will add the fact that when we invited you once to address the office of the press secretary, you were complaining that you were so busy you had no time for your love life. Do you have some time for your love life?
Well, only about a month ago I said that I had the love life of frozen yogurt. I had all the passion and intensity of frozen yogurt. But I believe that there is some improvement looming on the horizon.
I see. Okay,
That's
okay.
good news.
I won't ask about the improvement looming on the... I'll ask you another question, entirely different. What do you think of Fidel Ramos? Do you think he will make a good president? Or do you feel that he does not have the qualifications to lead his country to higher ground? How do you feel about the matter?
I have no feelings because I am emotionally disengaged from the political
see.
process. I have trained myself, this is the discipline of the legal profession, that I must always view things within the legal perspective. What I can see down the road for him is trouble with a big T, because in the first place, he will be a minority president. This cannot be helped. These are simply the results of the dynamics of our multi-party system. No president could have won a majority vote. But there it is. He will be a plurality president. His plurality will be extremely tiny. He will lead by a very narrow margin. And for that reason, particularly if no special elections are held, or if the tabulation is conducted only on the basis of the wholesale documents called the canvass certificates and not on the basis of the precinct level documents called the election returns. If this is done, then forever there will be a cloud of doubt always hovering over his head.
I see.
He will never enjoy a mandate. And unfortunately, this mandate is absolutely necessary in order that the next president can attract the foreign investments, which are the only source of the economic surge of power that we so badly need.
I have an avalanche of questions on this matter, but since time is crowding in on us, I have another question. The grapevine continues to ring with some innuendos that there is still this tililing thing about you and questions about your so-called mental composure, your mental equilibrium. How do you react to all these things about tililing?
I am habituated to this kind of perverse reaction from certain people because when I was in UP campus, Cheche will recall that she and I were both what is commonly called public figures. And we realized very early you cannot please all the people all at the same time. And